I mean, try to keep every fight feel the same. You want to have that same mentality going every fight, but it definitely feels like it has more magnitude. I mean, Ryan's been at the top for so long. He was the man when I first came into the sport, and I think I've done well for myself. So I think it is a super fight. I feel like walking, just back home, even here, or wherever I've been, I feel like I get more people talking about this fight than any fight I've been in yet.
Yeah. I think we're all trying to break it down. I mean, it's hard to break down. That's why we're all so excited about it. But people are looking at the fact that you're finally going to have a size advantage, for like probably the first time in your career. Are you thinking about that at all? Is that exciting to you?
I don't think I have much of a size advantage. Ryan talks about he walks around 58, 62, and that's kind of what I walk around at. I think I may have like a half inch on him. So if that's the size advantage, I'll take it. I don't really look at size. Even when I was a little guy, I didn't really pay attention to it, and especially on the big guy, I'm not going to pay attention.
This fight had been talked about for a while, kind of discussed and rumored and linked to. How much did you think about it? And was this a guy you really had on your radar, like, man, that would be something for my legacy there?
I don't know if we're always kind of never crossed paths, but then it started getting talked about more and more. We did like a little face-off one time at the Las Vegas fight shop. That started catching some steam, and then, we're possible opposing coaches, ultimate fighter. So I think when those things started happening, I'm like, yeah, it's eventually going to happen.
I guess the way most people are looking at it is that your boxing is probably going to be your biggest advantage. For him, it's going to be speed and scrambles. Trying to make a little bit of chaos. Are there any areas that you're most concerned that you feel like this is where I have to avoid to make sure this fight goes my way?
I don't think I have to avoid anything. I mean, I feel confident anywhere this fight goes. I know he's very opportunistic with submissions and in the scramble especially. So I mean, I got to be aware of those things. But I'm pretty fast too, and I scramble pretty well too. So I just got to make sure I'm on a piece of cues, and I'll be all right.
Despite the fact that he's coming up from bantamweight, you pretty much viewing this as a #1 contender fight?
It is. I mean, I think my last fight was a #1 contender fight. So now here we go again. I got to make sure I take care of business, and I'll get that title shot.
I'm curious. We saw Mayweather and Pacquiao do 4.4 million pay-per-view buys recently. I don't know if there's anything the UFC can do right now, but this is a pretty big fight. But what do you think? What's the biggest fight you think the UFC can do right now?
And the biggest fight they can do, I don't know if. Ronda Rousey fought John Jones or something, you know what I mean? I don't know, the biggest fight. I don't know if we'll ever match something like that, but, we're catching steam. In years to come, I'm sure we'll see something like that.
You mentioned Ronda Rousey. Sports Illustrated named her the world's most dominant athlete. I'm not sure if you had a chance to see that, but what do you think? Is that right? Is she the world's most dominant athlete?
I don't know, man, but I'll take it. It's kind of his home team, man. She's MMA. I'm a UFC fighter. She's a UFC fighter. That's one for the team, So, I mean, she goes in there and pretty much just runs through everybody. Her last fight was 14 seconds, so I don't know if you can get much more dominant than that.
Last question I got for you. Big fight this weekend, but obviously next weekend you got Anthony Johnson, Daniel Cormier. What do you think? Is the winner of that fight the actual UFC champion, or is it kind of an asterisk and they got to beat John Jones so they can really claim that title?
I think, I mean, they're the two best guys in the world to fight that aren't John Jones. And right now he can't fight. You don't know what's going to happen with him. I'm sure he's going to come back. I hope he comes back. But right now, those are the two guys. So that is for the title. But I think they'll cement it once John Jones comes back. And if they can beat him, then they'll cement that.
Thanks, Frank.
Thank you. We're from UFC China. So there are some questions that Chinese fans want to ask you. First of all, is there any special reason that you take this fight in your favor?
It's just an exciting fight. I mean, fight that people have been talking about for years. When it was presented to me, I jumped on it.
Both you and Faber are very strong wrestlers. So, is there any skills that you see you are better than him that can lead you to a victory?
I don't try to say I'm better than any one thing. I'm a mixed martial artist, and I think I just want to be able to adapt. Whatever's given to me, I'm going to take. So I think it's the transitions and how you seamlessly make those transitions. Going to make you a better fighter that night.
After your last victory over Cub Swanson, it seems like you're number one contender in this weight class. But now Conor McGregor will challenge Jose Aldo this summer. So what do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean that's the way it goes, man. It's a fight business, and he did a good job of getting himself in position to get that title shot. He handled his opponents and he promoted himself well. So that's just the way it goes. I got to make sure I take care of business so I don't get against him again.
Okay, so one last question is who you're gonna pick, Aldo or McGregor?
I think it's a favorable matchup for McGregor, but I got to go with the champion.
Okay, what can you say about the UFC coming here to the Philippines and you being, the main card and the hype all around it? How do you feel?
I think they picked the right guy for the job, and I'm excited. I'm honored to come to the Philippines and be the first main event here. You know, me and Uriah, I think are the perfect fight to introduce, you know, UFC to the Philippines. You guys are passionate fight fans, passionate UFC fans, and it's just going to be a great experience.
All right, so moving on to your fight. What do you think is your distinct advantage over here?
Again, you know, it's tough to say, man. Like we're pretty matched up evenly, you know, across the board. I mean, we do everything similarly. You know, we're going to stand up and throw it. We're going to look for takedowns. We're going to look for submissions. I think my transitions may be a little bit better. I don't know. You know, I think I can go from boxing to wrestling, back to wrestling, to boxing to jiu-jitsu a little bit better than he can.
Where do you think this fight will be won? What aspect of the game do you think this fight will be won?
It's going to be won on making sure I show up. If I show up on Saturday night to fight to the best of my ability, I can't lose.
You've come a long way in your career. Can you give us your top 5 favorite wins in your career? Let's start for 5 to 1.
Oh man, that's tough here. 5 to 1.
And explain why.
5 to 1. Jeez. I'm just gonna give you 5. You guys can number them how you want. You know, obviously the winning the title, you know, that was probably number 2. I'd say winning the title just because it was such a, you know,